Magdalo, a political faction of Katipunan led by General Emilio Aguinaldo. They fought for Philippine independence. In July 2003, a group of 321 young idealistic officers and soldiers who called themselves Bagong Katipuneros led the Oakwood community to press for the ouster of former President Arroyo. The insignia on their uniforms was Magdalo, and the rest is history. One of their leaders is Senator Antonio Trillanes. Now they won 2 seats in the House as party-list group, and joining us tonight is former Lieutenant Ashley Asedillo, first nominee and Congressman-elect. Good evening, sir, and welcome to NewsLife.
Good evening, Robert, and good evening to Isabella and Bianca as well.
Sir, what will Magdalo stand for in the House? A rebel then, now a reformer. What will you champion in Congress?
Basically, Robert, this will be the same thing that we have stood for since 2003 when we first started. And this will basically be about reforms in the AFP and even in the police organization. But more so, now that we have a say in policy making, we will also champion good governance and pursue poverty alleviation.
Sir, you're young, a patriot. You fought against the enemies of the state. It was then, but in the House, it's debates on issues. Can you give us an idea of your proposed legislative agenda?
If I may just deliberate on one very particular piece of legislation, we realize that when we pursue the welfare of our retired and even our active military men and policemen, we realize that in pursuing their welfare, we also need to pursue reforms and certain changes within the AFP and PNP organization. The AFP, for example, under the aegis of the Department of National Defense, has been subsisting on a law that was passed in 1937. Therefore, we need to change this. We need to keep the organization relevant by passing a new National Defense and Security Act to replace the Commonwealth Act No. 1. This will open the door for a lot of changes within the organization with the AFP, how it is employed by the state, and more importantly, how it takes care of its men and women in uniform.
So now, why is there a need to amend the National Defense Act?
It's about time, Robert. A lot of changes have happened in the security environment by which the AFP, the DND, and our country operates in. So we need our organizations up to date, and one way we do this is to pass a law which will update our organization and its systems.
Sir, now for someone who has served in the AFP, its capability to defend the country from foreign aggression require massive upgrade and modernization. How do you propose to do this given unlimited resources?
One thing we could do there, Robert, is that, like I said, we need to look at how the AFP is organized. Right now, 80% of its budget goes to personnel services, that's salaries. Little goes to MOOE, or maintenance and operating expenses, as well as for capital outlay. Capital outlay gets the least amount of attention, and this is where we need to put a lot of money because we have a lot of problems with our neighbors, and we need to back up what we say in the areas where we have common disputes with our border neighbors. And we can't, as one organization said, like the Navy, for example, which patrols our waters where we have disputes with our neighboring countries, our Navy cannot subsist on nationalism alone. They need ships, they need gasoline, they need armaments, and they need people to man these ships and patrol our waters.
So now looking at the insurgency, the president is committed to peace, but the CPP, NPA seem not to be are not sincere. How can you help in promoting peace?
Robert, if I may just say this unequivocally, they do not seem, they are really insincere. The fact of the matter is, they just ambushed several policemen in Cagayan Valley. I don't see these people coming to the table. Before we even ask them to come to the peace table, let us see how we can finally cripple this armed revolution so that they have no other recourse but to go to the peace table. As to the question how we can help, of course, we can always offer ourselves to talk to these people who are willing to talk. Not all of those in the armed struggle are willing to go on endlessly with this senseless violence. A lot of them are growing old. A lot of them have taken the path to peace. So I think this is the segment that we should approach, not those who are still subsisting on extortion and who thrive by killing their fellow Filipinos, our policemen and our soldiers.
Sir, given your courage in defying a president 10 years ago, are you supportive of the president's campaign for good government?
Yes, Robert. As a matter of fact, we not only see our role as legislators in supporting the governance platform of the president, but more so in our oversight function. We need to make sure that the budget that is allocated by Congress is spent wisely, and we are able to do this through oversight, not just in budget hearings, but in continuously holding committee hearings, so that each of these government agencies which we give money, the people's money to, actually give service and give the benefit ultimately to the people.
Sir, when the 16th Congress opens, what other bills or agenda will the Magdalo do in terms of broadening more of what needs to be done here in the local scene?
I make quick mention of two priority bills, Robert. One is as equally important with the new National Defense Act, is a bill which will define again the role of the PNP in internal security operations. As we know now, it's the AFP who is performing this. The AFP needs to shift its focus to territorial defense, external defense. Therefore, we need to give back to the PNP role of internal security operations, but they have to be prepared, and we have to equip them with a bill to restore this mandate to them. Another is similar to what the U.S. has. They have a Government Performance Reform Act that's similar to Republic Act 10149, but which was only mandated for government-owned and controlled corporations. We would like to bring that practice not only for GOCCs, but to all the other executive agencies under the President, so that we are able to see that they have a performance standard and they will be measured by that performance standard, thereby ensuring that our people benefit from their services and they continually deliver on their promises as laid down in these performance standards.
Sir, during the 15th Congress, there were some priority bills that didn't make it, and there were some issues also trying to be addressed. For instance, let's start with the FOI bill. Are you for this?
Yes, definitely, Robert. The FOI bill has come of age. We need a bill like this to shed light on all government transactions and everything that government does. Nothing should be hidden in the dark. The best way to ensure that there is no corruption is that you make it transparent for people so that all government are held accountable.
So another issue that has been talked about even during the elections was the political dynasty. Are you against political dynasty, or are there moves when 16th Congress opens to actually try to file a bill with regards to this?
One thing that the last campaign in this 2013 elections has done is to demonize dynasties, especially the bad dynasties. And a lot of it is true, actually. But what I'm saying here is that we should not take that tack. We should not demonize all dynasties, because precisely these are the dynasties that we should deal with. These dynasties sit in Congress, both in the lower house and in the upper house. What we need to do is to inveigle them, bring them to the table, and tell them that yes, there are good dynasties, but equally there are more. For each good dynasty that exists, there are 4 others that do not serve a good purpose in this country. Therefore, instead of demonizing them, make it clear to them that they are needed in this effort to finally pass a bill that will outlaw dynasties. But in this 16th Congress, Robert, I would like to, in my expectations, maybe we can open the debate against dynasties, but I don't see a bill being passed. But if there is a measure that will be put on the floor, I will definitely support it.
Okay, sir, and a final word from you?
We're just thankful for this opportunity to serve the country again. We used to serve the country as soldiers, but in 2003, we brought to the fore the problems that we had in our organization, and that landed us in jail. As soon as we got out, the only thing we were asking ourselves, when would be our chance again to serve our country? With the re-election of Senator Trillanes and our entry into the House through the 2 seats that we gained through the Magdalo party list, all we could do is promise that we will be worthy of the mandate that was given to us by the people.
Okay, on that note, thank you very much for joining us here at NewsLife, and congratulations, Congressman-elect Ashley Asedillo of Magdalo Party List. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Robert.